Hey guys, how we doing today? This is Wally with LearnerNet. I hope you have an amazing day. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Siteground and if it's really the ideal web hosting provider for you to use to launch your website or blog today. If you guys are new here to this channel, hit the subscribe button right below, along with the bell, and that way any future videos, guys, that I upload, you'll be sure to receive them. Also, hit that like button. That way you can show your support on this channel and other amazing individuals like yourselves will be the finest video in search. So when creating a website online, a blog, or any type of site, you need a reliable web hosting provider, one that's super reliable and also affordable. Is SiteGround that? I've been online for several years, and during this time, I've been able to use different web hosting providers, Bluehost, Hostinger, HostGator, several web hosting providers around. And SiteGround is just one of these web hosting providers that I really like due mostly to the performance itself. We're going to talk more about that because I think that performance is extremely important when selecting to use any web hosting provider online to launch or maintain your website going forward. What I wanted to do is to focus mainly on the shared web hosting. Obviously, most of you that are watching this video and that follow this channel, maybe beginners or maybe you've never set up a site online. And so shared web hosting tends to be the best option to get started with. And as you scale, perhaps you can move on to maybe like another tier, perhaps even dedicated, maybe down the road. But in the beginning, shared web hosting is best. And SiteGround has some really nice web hosting plans that you can select from. There are three main plans that you can check out: the Startup, the Grow Big, the Go Geek. When I initially got started with SiteGround, I got started first with the Startup plan. I had it for like a year, and I decided to upgrade to the Grow Big. And I did that mainly because one, I wanted to be able to host more than one website online, and two, to be able to receive or manage more visitors. And so, depending on what you are looking for, if you just want to host one website today, you can get started by using the links right below and just go ahead and select the startup plan. It's ideal for what you'll need, guys. It comes with 10 gigabytes of web space, supports up to 10,000 monthly visitors. It's ideal for that once you start to grow with your website and you get more visitors, be it from YouTube or from search engines. You could probably upgrade to the Grow Big, which this one supports up to 100,000 monthly visitors, and it gives you 50 gigs of web space itself. Now, the 50 gigs itself is divvied amongst the websites that you create online. So whatever gigabytes of web space that you're receiving with the plan, be it the startup plan with the 10 gigs, the Grow Big with the 50, or with the Go Geek that gives you up to like 100 gigabytes. Those gigabytes are going to be divvied amongst the websites that you have online. So that's something that you want to take into consideration. SiteGround is really great in handling like high volumes of traffic without crashing. And that's important because sometimes you can have a website that is getting droves or maybe like spurts of traffic. Maybe you're running like a sale and you need to be able to handle like a lot of traffic at once, or maybe on a given day or given month. And so you need a web hosting provider that can handle that without crashing. You don't want your customers to click through, maybe through Google, Yahoo, or Bing, and your website is down because the web host couldn't support it. So that's something that I think SiteGround does an amazing job with that, with handling high volumes of traffic and page loads. Some other things that I wanted to mention, guys, that you get with all of the three plans: you get a free domain name. They have a really nice site builder that takes you step by step through the process of creating a site. Even if you've never done it before, you don't really need to have tech skills to be able to launch your website. They actually walk you step by step with their site builder itself that they have in place. They have different CMS platforms. I told you guys that I've created sites online mainly with WordPress. It's just really easy to do it. You can select WordPress, you can use Drupal, you can use other CMS platforms, whatever it is that you have in mind, just depending on your plans. All of the plans come with a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you feel that the startup plan, the grow big, the go geek plan itself is not for you. What you guys can do is get in contact with customer support. They're amazing, they're really fast, they will give you your money back. They're a really, really great web hosting provider, and I think on like Trustpilot, they have like 4.9 out of 5 stars. And so just looking at them, comparing them with other popular hosts that are out there like Bluehost, HostGator, and others that are very popular but not really reliable, that's something to really think about, right? And so a lot of people speak positively about Siteground's customer support and how great they are. So they're an all-time really great web hosting provider. They have some really, really nice deals on the front end, like when you're getting started. For example, as of the time of this video, right now with the startup plan, it's only $2.99. It's possible that it might go up, it might go down, and so what I recommend that you do is just lock in on the pricing itself. That way you can take advantage of the low deals. With the Grow Big itself, it is a little bit over that, and then the Grow Geek itself, it's like $8 or so. And so I think that again, if you are a person that just needs to create one website itself, I think the startup plan should be ideal for you. One thing that I wanted to mention off the gate is on the front end, SiteGround is very, very inexpensive. Some amazing, amazing deals that you get on the front end. Just to make sure that this SiteGround review is 100% honest and transparent, they have some higher renewal rates. And some people, want to know why is it that, the rates are a lot higher than maybe a lot of their competitors online. I think that when you consider a lot of their competitors that are online, be it Bluehost, HostGator, or any of these companies that are out there that are like maybe dirt cheap, I think it's very, very important to think about performance and security. When you side with a web hosting provider that doesn't care too much about protecting your website against maybe DDoS attacks, root attacks, viruses, Trojan attacks, all of these things that bombard websites each and every day, I think that it pays for itself, right? And so I think that the ideal thing that you want to do is to buy more web hosting up front. For example, with the startup plan itself, let's say for example, if it's like $2.99 as of the making of this video, what I recommend that you do versus paying for say 12 months, I recommend that you buy a few years up front, maybe 2 or 3 years or more if you can do that. I recommend this with any web hosting provider online, not just with SiteGround, but with any web hosting provider. The deal is that I kind of like to compare or look at web hosting just like buying things for wholesale. If you go to like, I don't know, like a Sam's Club or Walmart or your BJ's, any one of these providers that sells things at wholesale, typically you benefit more or you save more by buying more product, right? And so web hosting is pretty much the same way. When you get started with your web hosting itself, it's highly recommended to buy more of it, right? And so that way you save more on the front end and on the back end, although you will have to renew it, because the deal with renewals is that they change all the time. Today it might be this amount, and this is just not with SiteGround, this is with any web hosting provider out there. Today it's this amount, maybe 1 month forward it changes, or 6 months or a year or what have you. And so I think on average, the introductory rates or pricing that they have, they're really, really nice deals for beginners, and even if you want to do like a site migration, really, really nice deals, with that. So that's just something that I wanted to highlight that SiteGround does for you. Now, is it really worth doing it? Of course. As I mentioned before, not only the pricing, but SiteGround puts a lot of work in performance, the overall performance. Their CDNs, content delivery networks, you need these. Some providers charge extra for this. This is something that comes included with your plans. CDNs, guys, basically help visitors to land on your website a a lot faster, or your website to be served a lot faster to them, if that makes a difference. For example, if you're in the United States, but your visitor is from Mexico, your visitor is from Europe, or they're from Africa, wherever it is that they're coming from, basically the CDNs will save an image of your website itself, and it helps to serve it a lot faster. That way people are not waiting due to latency and these kind of things. And so CDNs are included with your web hosting packages. They do a lot of caching. They have SSDs. All of these things promote really fast speeds. And so I think that when you consider all of this that is, like bundled in each one of these packages, it's worth the buck itself, and so people might say it's expensive. Yes, it is expensive. It is expensive. But I think that when you buy maybe like a Lexus, if you want to drive a Lexus or a BMW or Range Rover, whatever it is that you want to drive, if it's a high-end vehicle, you know what you're buying. This vehicle will never leave you on the side of the road. And so you want to think about the quality. It's a premium cost that you're spending, for it, but it's well worth that cost due to the performance. And talking about performance, guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about uptime performance. A lot of web hosting providers boast 99.9%, and that's considered more of like the web hosting industry, like average itself. Most web hosting providers provide that. But in the case of Siteground, they surpassed that, coming in at 99.99%. So you're talking about even more of a reliable web hosting provider, and it's very, very important that when you get started today with SiteGround, you appreciate that you're going to have very, very fast page loads, and people are going to be able to find your website 24/7, no matter where it is that they're trying to find you online, guys. I wanted to talk more about security. It's another area that SiteGround takes really serious, and I think it's important to know that again, you get SSL certificates. They have automated daily backups. They're on-demand backups as well. Anti-hack systems. Talked about websites being bombarded by hackers and Trojans and viruses. And so SiteGround takes proactive steps to perform updates and patches. There's protection against spam, as well as some other things that they have in place, guys, that keeps your website secure. And so you need that. A lot of these cheap web hosting providers that have cheap introductory rates or cheap renewals don't provide good security. And so your information that you're serving to your clients or your customers or your visitors online, you want that information to be secure. And if you're collecting information from your clients that's stored on your website, you want that to be also secure as well, right? And so having 24/7 monitoring on your website itself, not only by a human but also through AI, you always have that protection with your website. And for that reason, again, I highly recommend using them. Now what I wanted to do, guys, is to talk about some alternatives. I think it's important to know about some of the alternatives, because I mentioned that although SiteGround starts at about $2.99, $3.99, and there are a lot of alternatives out there that are cheaper, but the performance may not be as good. So if you're a person that's thinking more about your pockets, like saving a penny or something like that, then you might want to consider maybe another host like Hostinger. Hostinger has been around a very long time. They have a lot of data centers, just like SiteGround. They have really nice reliability as well, good customer support, but it's only through chat and emailing with tickets. So with SiteGround, there's phone support, chat support, email support. There's a ticketing system as well. You can always get in touch with customer support really fast with SiteGround. With Hostinger, I have an account with them. They are really nice, but the customer support itself is not that fast. It's really good, like they're very knowledgeable, very courteous, but they're not as quick. I might put in a ticket and it may take several hours before someone actually resolves the issue. It's reliable, but if you have a problem, then again you have to wait, for that. So it's nothing wrong with getting started with a web hosting provider that has only chat service or only email customer support, but you also have to think about that as well. So I love reliability, and I do want to save money. I think it's important to save money, but I think that if you use a host, you want to think about what is it that you want? What is it that you want? What is it that you need? If you're a person that is kind of more low key, you don't like talking on the phone, maybe Hostinger might be that host for you. They have some nice deals that start typically around $1.99, $1.99 per month. Really nice. I mean, you can create one site, several sites, multiple sites online. They have really good SSD storage. I think it's a really, really great, reliable web hosting provider. But again, just going back, if you have an issue, then you have to wait for customer support to respond and then resolve the issue. They also have a 30-day money back guarantee. And again, what I'll do is I'll drop one of the links right below. That way you guys can get started with them. Another provider is Bluehost. A lot of people know about Bluehost. This is just another provider that's very, very popular, that's promoted heavily, like online itself. I no longer have an account with Bluehost, but I still wanted to tell you about them. They have shared web hosting, VPS, dedicated. But again, I think the downside to this alternative is that the page loads are not as great. And I think that, although you may save money, with Bluehost, the performance, suffers, which means you have lower page rankings itself, or less rankings, lower rankings in the SERPs, if that makes sense. And so, again, Bluehost is another popular web hosting provider that's out there. You can't go too many places online and not hear something about them, but they do offer a money-back guarantee as well. And if you want to check them out, you can do that below as well. DreamHost is a more reliable shared web hosting provider. It's more reliable than Bluehost and Hostinger. They've been around a very, very long time. The deal with them that's very different from Hostinger, and I have an account with them as well with DreamHost, is that they too have customer support that is primarily through email and chat. But in my opinion, I think it's a lot faster than Hostinger. So the pricing itself is a little bit more. We're talking about a little under $3, more or less, for like one of the starter plans with DreamHost versus like the $199 with Hostinger that they usually run. But I think that the performance overall, the security that they have in place, features and benefits, I think it just surpasses Hostinger and Bluehost in my opinion. And they have a really, really nice money back guarantee as well. And so again, if you want to try out DreamHost, highly, highly recommend them as well over Hostinger and over Bluehost. So guys, what I wanted to do in this video is just give you a little bit of information about Siteground. They're not the cheapest shared web hosting provider out there. There are tons of web hosting providers out there that are cheaper. But I think that when you stick with cheap, or you go for cheap things, that's what you get, right? So if you buy something that's used, like a used car, you're bound to have issues, with it. It's cheaper, you're saving money, right? And you might do that with a web host. But I think that if you are serious, about your business itself, and you want your customers to take you seriously, then I think it just makes sense to go with a web hosting provider that it may not be the cheapest, but they're the most reliable. And that's what you're really getting, with Siteground, guys. And so, again, with strong uptime, fast page loads, you have some really nice security tools in place, daily backups, as I talked about, excellent customer support. I mean, these are things that you absolutely need to have in place when getting started with a web hosting provider. So tell me, guys, what you think about this video review for Siteground. If you found value with it, I really appreciate you guys giving it a thumbs up, showing your support. You can drop your comments right below as well. I wanted to give you guys a nice overview of some benefits of using their web hosting today. So there will be a link right below. It is an affiliate link because I do use Siteground, and so I recommend them obviously. But you can get started today, and don't forget there is a 30-day money back guarantee in the event you feel that SiteGround is not for you. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this SiteGround review. Have an amazing day and much success.